Okay, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Patricia ORourke. I'm a 20-year Marine veteran, and this school has been part of my treatment. I have PTSD and major depression, and for me to get out of the car and go to the vet center was a very hard step to my treatment. And I'm honored that this school, with the teachers here, sometimes you don't like to tell people you do have a problem, but you have to because they have to understand why you can't make it some days. And I'm very honored that this veteran program is here. A problem, not with the school, or I just want to bring up a issue. I've been in the system, the Veteran Administrative Hospital system, for about 10 years since retiring. I had a great therapist. I go to the 3rd Street Clinic in San Francisco, and she got promoted. And the problem is, the doctors, when they go away, it takes like another month for another doctor to come in, and they never have an answer what day they'll get there. And I was sent to the women's clinic, and I'm a single mother with 2 young children, and I was told that there were no morning appointments because the doctor had just left, and they're waiting for the new doctor to come in. So I feel like in between these doctors, you get kind of shuffled around, and that's just, I mean, I was very happy with my therapist, but now she's gone, and we're waiting to see if I get another one. And then I don't care about going to the women's clinic or not, but they preach this women's clinic, and I don't care. I was a woman in a man's world. I don't care what doctor you send me to. I just need a morning appointment because circumstances with my children. But I'm honored that you all are here, because I always learn a lot here.
Well, I'm glad you shared your specific situation, because we certainly don't want the veterans caught up in staffing issues.
And it's happened a lot.
And I'm hearing that. And we have recently got approval and funding to hire quite a few providers.
Yeah.
And so we have a heavy, heavy recruitment effort. Our intent is to make sure there's a soft handoff to somebody else if your provider moves on.
Right.
And so there's no reason why that shouldn't have happened for you. And so it would be great if you could share your information so I can follow up and make sure that you get an appointment when you want it, with whom you want to have one with.
Well, I just needed a morning appointment due to
Right.
my circumstances with children.
Right, I
And then
understand.
I kind of had a PTSD moment with the girl, and I had to apologize because I shouldn't have done that. But your guys are sending me, the people are sending me there to, that was,
Yes. So
but I did apologize. So.
in the very back is Judy, has her hand up there. So if you can go share with her, we'll make sure it happens for you.
Okay, next.
Thanks for letting me talk for a minute. My name's Darren, Petty Officer Hasse. Can I raise this up a little? All right, cool. Used to I guess I just hope to get a few minutes, just to talk. It's my first time, attending one of these events. Thank you. For everyone served. All of us took abuse in the military, did it for the oath, to protect our country through hazards and whatever else we went through. Affects our lives. I joined when I was 18, out of high school, varsity athlete, ended up homeless, suicide hospital. I was serving before the people even knew what PTSD was, and you can get PTSD for many reasons. I found out only recently. I've been diagnosed at the vet center, et cetera, et cetera. My life is finally making more sense to me. I did the oath of enlistment, I think they call it the oath of enlistment at 18, to defend the Constitution of the United States of America against enemies, foreign and domestic. Very interesting concept, foreign and domestic enemies. But I did it, honorably discharged. I didn't get paid a lot to do it. I was in the Navy. Was never boots on the ground like a lot of OIF, OEF guys, different people in different branches. We do different things. Being on a guided missile frigate, it's not a love boat experience with a bunch of guys, you know, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, and I got my ass kicked. I had a military sexual trauma incident, and I also got assaulted by my E9 at one time before I was 22. Now, get this. I was in the middle of the
Can I
ocean.
just stop you for a minute? Are you going to see a claims rep?
Yeah, I'm going to see a claim.
That's very important.
I think, yeah. I don't know, I mess with weapons and all sorts of stuff, and, you know, I got an anxiety disorder. I am diagnosed with PTSD. I just found out at the vet center. So, but get this is going to be the, and I have TBI. I've been, got in a lot of fights and got concussions too. Long story short, I wasn't like that in high school, so, you know, I dealt with it all in the military, but here it is. I got a theme from the statement on my case, and I'm going to read it to you because none of this is in a, I don't need to make any of it up. It says in the statement of my case, a PTSD claim based on personal assault or military sexual trauma, which both I'm claiming and both happened and are not really documented well because the military in the 1990s doesn't, you know, it's a tough man Navy. They don't like to document things well when, you know, things happen like that on the Navy ship. But it says right here, I did complain about the military sexual trauma on the ship. The guy was removed, and the personal assault, I didn't. The E9, I was not going to talk about that. The reason being threat of retaliation. I might have ended up dead on the ship. But here it is. I'm just going to finish.
Aaron, that's Jordan over there. He has your case. He got it. He got it. So you should go see him now.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure I will. I just hope
It'll help. It'll help.
I think what I want to do is explain just something for everyone to see is how the VA possibly could be, it's a PTSD based on personal assault or military sexual trauma. And this is a statement of my case from the VBA Veteran Benefits, right? They stated this on record. It's a PTSD claim based on personal assault or military sexual trauma can be very difficult to pursue for a veteran who has active duty service. Now, what happened, I was on reserve duty when this happened, in the middle of the ocean, because my orders were less than 30 days on reserve duty. They break them up. You're still in the Navy. I have my Navy uniform on. I got my assault and military sexual trauma. I was on reserve duty at this moment and on a guided missile frigate. It is much more difficult to substantiate for a member of the reserves. In the case, basically, they said PTSD based on assault, military, sexual trauma can be very difficult to pursue for a veteran of active duty service. It is much more difficult to substantiate the same thing for a member of the reserves. I don't know if you understand what that means, but that's like the ultimate, you know, kick in the worst area. Yeah, it affected my life. I don't got to explain much more. I have 8 years honorable service. I'm just pointing to two major things, but to pick on me, because these things happen on reserve duty, and the active duty guy that, you know, and the people that, you know, I'm just going to explain like this. Thank you for letting me talk. My dad also happened to be who went missing at 8 o'clock. I mean, my dad went missing at 8 years old. And now I'm just realizing this other part about my life. I got reintroduced to him after I was in my 30s. I'm in my 30s now. I'm on Social Security disability for anxiety disorder. I am diagnosed with PTSD. And my missing father, who went missing at 8, was discovered alive. And guess who my missing father was? He was a 2-year drafted Vietnam veteran, 66 to 68 in the Tet Offensive. He is 100% service-connected only in 2005. I met him in the same year he is service-connected for Vietnam combat. 66 to 68. So I am also qualified now as a Vietnam child dependent who never received VA benefits as a child dependent of a Vietnam combat vet. I was homeless after when he went missing because he had PTSD, obviously, and he was untreated by the...
Sir, I hate to interrupt you. I really do, but we are under time
I'm going to leave it at
constraints.
that, but I have a lot of history with this, and I hope to... I gave a lot to this, and one day I hope, because I'm still not service-connected, and you just read why, so I'm just hoping to expose something. Thank you for your time. I love you guys. It's nothing personal, but I'm suffering here, all right?
Well, thank you for coming out and telling us your story. I hope you'll stay and tell either Jordan or the folks out in back. And first, I'm really sorry it happened to you. And it is, as stated, something hard for us through the legal process to help you with, but we'll do everything we can to make sure we can, because I know part of it isn't the money, it's the recognition that it happened. So thank you for coming out and telling us your story.
I just got back from the interview process next door. They basically just told me that the VA, I don't know, did you turn this off? Can you hear me? Yes. I'm not getting all that close. I'll just yell. And they basically just told me that the VA lost all my medical records. And I know I'm not the first person this has happened to. What does one do when that happens?
So there's several things. One, I want to make sure they got your name and information.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, it's all been taken care of.
So several things we can do. We can go and look. Was it fire related or?
They just can't find it.
Okay.
Normally, when you file a claim, they'll say they reviewed your records, and they didn't do that. The gentleman said there's a high chance that they've lost my records. So and he doesn't know where to go from there. So maybe you or somebody on the panel might have had something like that happen, or maybe you have a contingency for something like this.
So some of the things that can happen in a paper, even though we're electronic now for the
Right.
most part, some of the records that you had when you were in service are still paper.
Correct.
And especially if there's Army National Guard or reservists, those are even harder to get a hold of. So some of the things we can do is we can go out to those individual units. We can also go to our National Personnel Record Center to see if they have anything. And then we can walk you through what the process is to kind of recreate some of those instances. We can use buddy statements if there was someone who witnessed that you landed wrong on
Okay.
your knee, stuff like that. There's things we can do. It's not optimal, but we'll try to get those records for you, and I'll personally take a look into it.
Okay, I personally handed the only original copy to the Oakland VA Center back in, I believe, 2007, and because she wasn't going to take photocopies, I hadn't had a chance to photocopy my medical records at the time. She said she was going to close my case as being denied if I didn't give them to her. She said she would give them back to me in 90 days. Obviously, that was quite some time ago. But to find out that there's a high chance this might be done, I just really want to know what other steps I can be taking, because, as you know, back in the day, they were taking quite some time to issue denials and stuff.
Well, I'm sorry that happened to you, and we'll do everything we can to make it right by you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. Next.
Julie, I want to talk about two things. One of them is this VEVRA 74. The law needs a rewrite. It covers Vietnam-era veterans through the delineation date of about May 1975. It covers all disabled veterans. DOL OFCCP has never enforced the law. There's a Fifth Circuit Court case in Texas precluding veterans from private right of suit. I can tell you how to rewrite the law. My own problem, I got attacked on a BART train October 17th, 2007 at the Balboa station by a student from here who was drunk and on drugs. I subdued and arrested him. I also kept him out of prison. The system went after me. Kamala Harris signed off on this. I'm going after her next. The VA has done 2 surgeries. Your regional counsel has tried to extort $100,000 from me. I lost my VA medical benefits 5 years ago, and I have a bronchial infection I've had for more than 6 months. I'm disabled with chronic bronchitis. My pending hearings have been in your office since 2005. Bob McDonald intervened in my cases 4 times. You receive emails from me on a regular basis from Ben Krause on the mess that he has discovered. I'd like some help.
Absolutely, sir. Have you talked to one of our counselors yet?
Not yet. I had an appointment, but they're running behind.
Okay. Well, rest assured, we'll definitely talk to you and get your information. Everyone that we talked to today, just so you know, I'm looking into personally. So I don't know the situation that you're talking about or the law you referenced, honestly, but we're going to take a look at it and see what we can do to help. Well, you rattled it pretty quickly, so I didn't have a chance to write it down.
The Vietnam-era Veterans Readjustment Act was passed in 1974.
Oh, the Readjustment Act. Okay.
It was effective 1 year later.
Okay. I got you now. I didn't hear you when you first said it. So.
Okay. It's never been enforced.
Well, thank you for bringing it to our attention and coming today. Thank you for your patience, because I know we're a little bit behind, but we will listen and get your information today.
Thank you.
Yep.
Jerome.
Yes, I have a question about the SGLI. I heard there was a compensation for injuries sustained in combat paid out through SGLI. I remember filling out a form about it, and I just remembered it just now. I just had a question if you had any answers to that. If you don't, that's fine.
We're talking about the life insurance program, correct?
Yes.
So I honestly, that's a little bit outside of my wheelhouse, but
Okay.
we can check on that, and if that's the case, we'll make sure we look into it for you.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, I don't have an answer for you right now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Donald Droughty, United States Marines, and you guys are really brave for coming out here. I know some of the guys here can be a little interesting, some of the stuff they say, but I've got an interesting one here. Okay, I was injured in Iraq, suffered from traumatic brain injury along with post-traumatic stress, and upon coming back, I thought my benefits would be there for me, And I had a claim that was going out, and at the time I was really uneducated with the claim process and exactly what it entailed, what was even really going on at the time, other than just I had been diagnosed for traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress. And from there, I just figured that my case was in the right hands. And come to find out, a year rolls by, 2 years rolls by, and I'm on a reservation in Laytonville, California, waiting for this claim and suffering, basically, after enough time had gone by, and my parents even wondering, like, what's going on, what's taking so long? I talked to fellow veterans, they said it can take 2, 3, 4 years even. Well, President Obama, as of more recently, came on TV about 8 months ago and brought this to the attention of the American people. 2 years rolls by, I check in on the claim, and I'm being told the Oakland Regional VA place that, it can take 2, 3 years, just hang in there, And so 3 years goes by. I'm fed up now. I come to San Francisco. I say, hey, I'm not leaving until I get my claim. I've been here at Treasure Island. It pushed me into the state of being even homeless. But to top things off, I talked to a lot of the veterans about they wanted to find out who my representative was. When I called the Oakland Regional Office this last time, upon coming to San Francisco, they said they couldn't find my claim. Things just started getting worse. I had to go to my family's house, find the documents that I had. People are now becoming more apologetic now about things. However, the person handling my claim went to prison. To prison. The head guy over at AMVETS, who John Blankenship has taken the place for, went to prison. And no one told me about it. So here I am on this reservation here, dying, I mean, think my country doesn't give a damn about me, And, I believe it or not, before I got injured, I was a college graduate, a law school student, I've spent my entire life helping Native Americans all across the country. My dad's name is Don Droughty. My dad's been with Congress members, mayors, even the president has awarded my dad. I couldn't be making this up. I mean, here's pictures of me, for example, winning awards even from before, And all these awards, I could have cared less. It's just something my dad had me like, here, take a picture when you're doing this, never thought I'd ever need it for some reason, but now maybe I do. And I'm sorry, it's not towards you guys, my frustration at all, I'm sorry. It's been 4 long years, But even, going back, I've always been top student, as you can see in the newspapers. I mean, just even, I don't know if you heard of Herb Alpert and the Tijuana Brass. Herb Alpert's my godfather. So, I mean, my dad, the smart man he is and the great advocate he is for the people and the public relations that he puts out there, he actually was, believe it or not, a famous oldie singer back in the day. You may have heard some of his hit records. You can check this up online even though, too, but my dad, for over 50 years, has done selfless work for people. And I didn't even realize how amazing the work my family had really done and the amazing things that I'd even done, so to speak, until I joined the Marines, until I took time away from my family to reflect back at the things and realize just how important family really even was, and how amazing the stuff it was that we'd done. But who would ever even think the fact that all this time I spent helping other people, the day should come that I would need the same help that I was giving out to other people. And none of it's been there for me. Except some of it has, I'm sorry. Swords of Plowshare, God bless them, And I know the VA's trying, I think. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I'm sorry. I'm just here. I'm wondering what's going on here because, when I first even got to the VA, there was a mismatch. There's been constant mishaps of my records even, and then, I told them, well, why don't you just call down at the regional office? So then they called down. You're like, oh, you're right. You do have honorable discharge. Oh, and this is like months going by, and I don't know the VA medical system. So the whole time I'm thinking my PTSD counselor for my claim turns out to, who is not though, because he turns out to be my social worker, and I didn't know that, who was who and what's what, all this stuff just coming down at me all of a sudden, because I'd been up in the mountains, just hiding away, so to speak, waiting for this claim to come through, because I didn't want to go back home to Chico and see my friends and family to see what had become of me, And I always thought that I would just go back to Laytonville so that I could be around friends and family, but away from certain folks that couldn't see what had become of me and get better. But better never came, And finally, it took me until I was on my deathbed with the doctors, them telling me, you're not going to make it if you go any longer, if you go back out there, and just don't get the help that you need, And, I started drinking a whole lot. It wasn't like I was drinking to go out and have fun or anything like that at all. It was literally things, these anxiety attacks with PTSD was so bad. It was the only thing helping me keep my sanity, it felt like, It was the only thing that stopped me from having the next anxiety attack because they just perpetually kept coming. And so just bottom line is just that I've just gone through an array of just travesty after travesty, and I'm tired of hearing people say that, oh, what a travesty. We have the people here who can help you. Okay.
So first of all, I'm so sorry it took so long. Unacceptable. Hopefully we can help you today. Have you heard recently? Have we been working with you?
You know what? I know people care. I know there's people that do care. And however, they set me up with a PTSD counselor.
Good.
Her name is Nancy O'Dell.
Good.
However, Nancy O'Dell, after I poured my heart out to her, unfortunately, with her caseload and everything too, it just basically, because they kind of pushed me real quick. Everyone was so quick to help, which is great. But then it was so quickly that her caseload couldn't take upon another veteran at that time. So after I poured my heart out to her, which I didn't want to talk to anyone about the stuff I'd been through, even Private Earhart that died, along with many other friends of mine that died while serving, I didn't want to talk about any of this stuff. And I did, and then I had to get transferred to a new counselor and open my heart back up again. I didn't want to do it, And so it just, it's a lot of talk and not a lot of action. I've been, like helpful action that I need. I need my claim badly. Okay. I'm sorry, I just...
we have folks here today that hopefully, if I have your information, come see me afterwards. I'll get your name personally, and I'll find out what's going on,
Thank
okay?
you. I can tell you guys care, or you wouldn't be here, So thank you.
Thank you for your service. Appreciate it.
Okay, go ahead.
Hi, my name's Linda, and I'm retired from the United States Coast Guard, and I'm a full-time student here. My question's real easy. I wanted to know, what's the status of the medical center that's supposed to be built at Alameda Point? From what I'm told, it's not even, there's nothing being done with that.
I know a little, do you know? So I know a little bit about it. I don't purport to know all the ins and outs. I was there when the land was transferred to the VA, so we are in ownership of that property there in Alameda, and I know that they're working on the design phase, and part of that is funding. So it's not something that's going to be built today or tomorrow. It's going to take several years probably to get it up and running. But it's taken a long time, but we finally did get the land. So that's probably one of the bigger pieces. So I don't have like a time frame on this date. They're going to be opening, but it's still in the works, and it's still planning on opening.
Okay, because originally it was supposed to open in 2017, and so as you're saying, it's perhaps a decade down the road.
So I'm not sure in the time frame. It's actually connected to the Northern California VA.
Mm-hmm.
If you would like to leave your name with me, I can have somebody from that VA call you and give you a sense of the timeline. I'm pretty sure it's not 2017.
Right.
But I don't know how delayed.
And I've talked to people, and I live in East State.
You did,
But I was
okay.
hoping to actually get some information from the Congresswoman, being that she is, on Armed Forces Committee.
Here's my card.
Okay.
Yeah, our staff in DC. Staff.
Okay, so call you.
Yeah, email.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Oh, one more. Come on up.
Hello, my name is John Syracuse. Hi. Well, I'm a Vietnam veteran, and right now I'm at 70%. I have PTSD and other issues. And I went to go see my well, my particular psychologist at the vet center said I'm 100%. I've already been hospitalized. And I saw a psychiatrist at the VA here in Palo Alto for only, what, maybe 10, 15 minutes. She says 50%, but that was it. So I'm unemployed. I thought for sure I'd be able to get 100%, but so that's an issue. And then right now I'm on appeal. I had a brain tumor a few years ago, and my doctor who worked on me in Cedars-Sinai said it's related to my cerebral malaria while I was in Vietnam. So I'm hoping the VA will recognize that, because a lot of issues happened since then with the spinal taps. I had meningitis thereafter here in the Palo Alto area. And last but not least, in my military service records, my medical records, plain as day, you can see I injured my right knee in Vietnam back in April of '71. And when I later ETS'd, I also stated it. It was giving away arthralgia. It's there in print, not just longhand, but print. And so I put a claim in, and the 800 number actually told me I had seen the VA doctor in early '72. And I remember seeing this fellow, and for only a few minutes, he told me I'm okay, no problem. I don't see anything wrong with you. It was an old, very old guy. So they had turned me down. I had a job in civilian life. I had gotten it done through my company. And when they determined what it was, they had to put a dye in my knee. Now they have MRIs. Before they used to have a dye. They never gave me a dye, the VA. He simply saw me for a few minutes and said, "You're okay." That was it. So after I got the knee operation done, I went back to the VA, and the guy told me there, "Oh, you already had the operation done. How do we know you didn't get it done in civilian life?" I said, "But look at the records. Can't do nothing for you. You got it done." They sent me away. That was many, many years ago, but I'm young. I'm kind of disgusted. They really didn't give a damn about the Vietnam veterans then. Now they do, of course, and I'm very grateful for that. So that's all I want to let you know. It's in the works. I'm going to see somebody in the end of October, the CP exam in Palo Alto, so I'm hoping something can be done. I'm hoping, with all of the above. So thank you for being here for us veterans, and especially thank you for Grant. I did talk to Grant, very nice fellow, very nice fellow. And Miss Speier, she's not here, but her and Mark have been very helpful for me. That's why I went to Cedars-Sinai. So I wish she would be here. I'd be able to thank her. Well, she already knows, but so thank you so very much. Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Last one?
Hi, I'm Kim Flaherty, and I'm going to keep this really brief and to the point. So I'm here with my fellow veteran. I encouraged her to come. And there's one other veteran that I've kept in contact with that wasn't able to make it. I currently have been volunteering in the Veterans Resource Center at the San Francisco Main Library. I like to meet people, and a lot of times the information is disconnected. I never knew anything, not only about myself, but certainly veteran benefits until recently. So I like to meet with veterans, and we learn about our experiences and veterans and benefits and life and what have you between each other. So my point is, what I want to do is to, from a negative experience, which is myself, this veteran, and another veteran, we're staying at a veteran transitional housing program. I won't mention the name. It's a GDP 2-year program. Very bad program, not beneficial at all. And it's going to be, I really am going to do my best to make sure that the VA does not fund this program any longer. I won't go into details what all's wrong with it. I ended up without having permanent housing. I just left. I couldn't take it anymore. I do have a housing voucher, and I'm actively looking, but it's a process. So from this negative experience, I would like to form some sort of committee or think tank roundtable of veterans that have really good ideas, if they could be heard, so that they could solve their own problems. So I don't want to just complain. I want to be the veteran that has this great idea, a solution for the problem. So my idea would be a housing program that would contribute to veterans that have aspirations towards business owners, continuing their education, or would lead to professional training, a career, if you will. So, and I want to say in particular for women, it's needed, especially. So, without elaborating, because I said I would keep this short, if you give me direction on how I could convey this marvelous idea, I have it all in my head, the whole program, I would love to offer that.
Well, I really appreciate that you've thought a lot of this out. If we can just touch bases afterwards and I can get your information, I can link you up with some folks that you can begin to have more discussions.
That would be great. I download and get emails from every kind of organization. One that I called, it's a national something, it's in DC. I think they're a nonprofit. But they said there are grants available. You know, I know land and resources and expense, but where there's a will, there's a way. You know, I just have all these, so many ideas to mention.
So, you know, we have many, many social workers who are involved in using the vouchers and getting homes residence for veterans, and so I'm sure they would really appreciate your thoughts. I don't know, you know, some of your ideas, whether we've explored any of it or not.
It's possible. I was a full-time student here last semester. I loved learning. For my age, I'm blessed with the physical and mental ability if I put my mind to it. I'm the veteran that I need a job, I need to contribute, I need to learn, or I become ill, if you will. And I can't go to school right now because of my housing situation. And when I was going to school, the last semester, it was really, really challenging because of this housing program. They should have been encouraging me, where they were distracting. So I want to change that situation for other veterans and myself.
Okay, good, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? All right, well, that concludes the town hall. I want to thank all the remaining panelists for being here. And just because, you know, we're stopping tonight, you know, our office never shuts down. That's Congresswoman Speier's office. So if at any time you have a question, you want to talk, you have an idea, just send it. Just contact us, email, phone, whatever. If you have any questions, come see me afterwards. Thank you.